Hello everybody and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I want to talk about things that I've noticed smaller YouTubers do that larger YouTubers don't. And I'm talking specifically about the YouTubers in the beauty community. You guys know that I love makeup, I love beauty, I love all that stuff, but I'm also somebody that chooses to follow mostly smaller YouTubers, and I'm talking like YouTubers that are under 100K, and I only follow a few YouTubers that are over that number because of many reasons that I have mentioned on my channel before, and those videos will be linked down below, of course, or in the cards. But basically, like, I have decided that I personally, because of my preferences, I prefer to watch smaller YouTubers for a variety of reasons. And I thought it might be interesting to really do a deep dive into comparing smaller YouTubers with larger YouTubers, talk about some things that smaller YouTubers do that larger YouTubers don't. I have a list in front of me. I have several points that I want to make. I would be happy to do a part 2 to this video if you guys are interested in seeing another one, but let's just get right on into it. But actually no, before I get into it, I do want to say I am in no way trying to shame or basically bash on larger YouTubers. These are just my observations, some of them good, some of them bad, and I kind of want to do like a little bit of an analysis into this. And I'm not trying to hurt anyone's feelings. That is not the intention at all of this video. I'm just trying to just talk about some things and just share with you my observations and my points and my ideas. So let's just get into the first point. I definitely notice that smaller YouTubers do tend to post more often. Pretty much every smaller YouTuber that I follow posts at least 3 times a week, and many post every single day. I'm a smaller YouTuber. I'm going to reference myself a lot in this video because I mean, I'm a smaller YouTuber. I feel like I can relate to a lot of these points. But yes, I post every single day. I'm a smaller YouTuber. I post every single day. There's so many different YouTubers that are smaller that post every single day, but I'm personally very hard pressed to find a larger YouTuber, a larger makeup influencer that posts every single day, or at least more than 5 times a week. I think Tati used to post 5 times a week, but then she cut it down to 3 times a week, and I feel like she did that because she is running her own company. She does have some other side products, but the point that I want to make is, for whatever reason, larger YouTubers do tend to post less than the smaller beauty YouTuber. Of course, you have some other bigger non-beauty YouTubers that post every single day, but like I said, it is very difficult for me personally to find somebody who is larger and posts every single day. I can't really find anyone that does that, and that's kind of a reason why I personally like watching smaller YouTubers, because they post so much more often than larger YouTubers. And this is kind of going into the second point that I want to make. Smaller YouTubers usually edit their own videos. I can't really find a smaller YouTuber that so far that has been willing to outsource each and every single one of their videos, or to pay an editor for each and every single one of their videos. It simply doesn't happen. Smaller YouTubers are usually more hands-on. They usually do everything by themselves. They edit everything, they film everything on their own. Everything is done by themselves and done in-house. Larger YouTubers do tend to outsource more. They tend to hire editors to do their editing for them. They sometimes have producers, they have a cameraman, they have people in the room that are doing all those different things for them, and they're paying them. So yeah, like, larger YouTubers do tend to outsource some of their work, some of their responsibility, but smaller YouTubers do tend to create everything by themselves. I'm not saying that larger YouTubers should be doing everything on their own. I definitely feel like if you get larger, I mean, from what I can tell, if you get larger, you do seem to be working on a lot of other things besides YouTube. A lot of larger creators do understand that it's very wise, it's a good idea to basically make sure that you're spreading around your income, that you're not just deriving income from one source. And yeah, that's why a lot of other bigger YouTubers do have other products on the side, which I would assume makes it necessary for them to hire editors. However, and this is a little bit of a point that I want to make, it kind of confuses me whenever I see larger YouTubers who hire editors post like once a week or like once every 2 weeks. It's kind of like, well, if you're sitting down and filming your video and then sending it off to an editor, why not film more? That's kind of like the question that's in my head, you know? But then on the other hand, you do have smaller creators who do post every single day or post 6 times a week or 5 times a week, and they edit everything by themselves, you know, and they have lives and they have other jobs. So it's kind of like interesting to me to like see that difference. But yes, smaller YouTubers do tend to completely do everything in house, and they usually don't hire other people to do their editing for them. So yes, smaller YouTubers do usually do all their editing and all their production by themselves. The next point that I want to make is that smaller YouTubers are usually willing to experiment more. And this is something that we see with colorful makeup. This is something that we see with like different filming styles, with different topics. Smaller YouTubers are usually more willing to branch out and try new things and experiment more, whereas larger YouTubers do tend to stick like to their like cookie cutter topics. You know, like you see larger YouTubers release like pretty much like the same kind of videos, and smaller YouTubers are the ones that tend to try and experiment more. So in a way that does make, for me at least, smaller YouTubers more interesting to watch, because they seem to come out with new and interesting content at a faster rate than larger YouTubers do. But then again, I do want to say that since I've noticed that since larger YouTubers do tend to have an enormous following, in a way I feel like their following does prevent them from trying out new things. I forget like this YouTuber that I was watching, I forget her name, but she's this larger YouTuber, and I think that she posted like a colorful makeup tutorial, and apparently like she got so much flack for it, so many people were like just not happy about it, that she was like, okay, I'm gonna go back to posting neutral makeup tutorials. So it's kind of like, because of her audience, she felt compelled to go back to her usual style instead of experiment more with something as simple as colorful makeup. Because let's just face it, colorful makeup is not like that big of a deal. It's just colorful makeup. It's literally just taking different shades and trying them out and experimenting. But the thing is, I feel like because of their following, a lot of larger YouTubers feel the pressure to just keep doing what works and not necessarily try out something new that has a chance of bringing down their views or watch time or whatever. I feel like larger YouTubers, because like that is their sole income, and because like they don't really have another job, and I feel like some of them are kind of afraid that their subscribers won't like something new, that their subscribers will like click off if they try out something new that may not be successful. So I feel like that's why they tend to stick so intensely to what works for them. And it's kind of like, I feel like a downside to having a large following, because I feel like a smaller YouTuber feels a lot more freedom when it comes to trying out new things than a larger one. Smaller YouTubers also use and promote indie brands a lot more often than larger YouTubers. This is something that I see a lot. I feel like a lot of larger YouTubers simply are unaware of smaller brands, they're unaware of the products that they're releasing, and they don't use them as much. They may or may not get them in PR, I don't know, but for whatever reason, larger influencers don't use indie brands. I feel like it might be because of a financial thing. Larger influencers might feel that they're getting more return from a larger brand, or by featuring a larger brand, than an indie brand. But it's really unfortunate, because you have indie brands that are fantastic, that are amazing, that are not getting the coverage that I think, and I feel like a lot of other people think, they deserve. For instance, I have like this palette in front of me. I have the Hasina 2, right? I think I saw, I think it was yesterday that I watched like a little bit of a clip from a video in which a larger influencer was talking about the Jeffree Star Blue Blood palette, and how unique it was, and how it was, well, essentially like the first of its kind, and how like amazing and how like interesting it was, and how it hadn't really been done before. But then you have this that came out last fall. And you have so many other like indie brand palettes that are a similar color story that have been around, you know, and you have other indie brands that pretty much do things first, and then other like larger brands sort of like copy that. and bring it into their own product line. But like my point is, I feel like a lot of larger influencers are unaware of what indie brands are producing, and whenever I see like a larger influencer saying, "Oh yeah, this is the first product of its kind. This is so unique. I've never seen anything like this before." I'm like, indie brands have done that, and they frankly did it better. Like, that's just how it is. You know, you see a lot of indie brands do things first and they do things better, but then larger influencers are just seem to be so unaware of that, you know. But smaller influencers are definitely a lot more in tune with indie brands, with what indie brands are releasing and all of that stuff, which makes me honestly want to watch smaller influencers a lot more than, you know, larger influencers. That's just how I feel. Also, another thing, smaller influencers tend to stay more relatable than larger influencers. And it's not the larger influencer's fault. You know, that's just how it is. I feel like once you reach a certain following and once you start intermingling with certain people, and then once you start like getting a certain like amount of PR and you know, money, you start finding it very difficult to relate to the average consumer, to relate to the average person. Your struggles and your interests start sort of deviating from everybody else's that might be watching your videos. There's a big difference for me whenever I see a smaller influencer recommended product versus whenever I see a larger influencer recommended product. A larger influencer will not like buy a $50 product and feel the same like strain or like the same pinch that a smaller influencer who is living paycheck to paycheck would if they're buying that same product. You know what I mean? A larger influencer will review a product and they will give you a review based on their opinion. And a lot of times it might be truthful, a lot of times it might not be. That's a problem that for another video. But yeah, smaller influencers have that issue as well. But my point is, if a smaller influencer is recommending a product, I feel a lot more compelled to buy that product because I know that that smaller influencer has a better understanding to, for example, how I feel whenever I buy a makeup product. Because whenever I buy a makeup product, I know that I am basically putting down money that's for me worth a great deal more than than somebody who's making more. Does that make any sense? Because it's a bigger deal to buy a $50 product for me than a larger influencer. So in a way, reviews and recommendations reflect that. Okay, I really felt like in this clip I was not explaining myself adequately enough, so I'm going to try and do a little bit of a voiceover so I can give you a better sense of the point that I was trying to make in this particular segment of the video. I do want to reiterate that it's not the larger influencers' fault if they can't relate as well to their viewers, okay? For me, whenever I buy a makeup product, I am in my head thinking, how many hours do I have to work to make this money to buy the makeup product? Like, even if I have the money already, and most often I do, I think, how many hours of work does this product equal, you know? And that's how I make my decision about whether or not I want to purchase this product. And so for me, when I'm equating hours of work with buying a makeup product, it makes buying a makeup product so much more significant. Like, if I was basically told to watch a favorites video from a larger influencer and watch another favorites video from a smaller influencer, and after all this I was asked to purchase makeup products from one of the two videos, I would 100% always choose the products from the smaller influencer's video. Why? Because I can relate to that smaller influencer more, because I feel like in my heart that their struggles are similar to mine. Their financial situation is more similar to mine than a larger YouTuber's financial situation would be. And in that way, I feel like the product that they're recommending to me is coming from almost a friend, is coming from somebody that I can relate to better, and therefore in my mind, it is a better decision for me to take the recommendation of a smaller influencer than a larger influencer, because I feel that I can't necessarily say that yes, the larger influencer is my equal. The larger influencer is almost like a friend to me, because like yeah, they can talk however they want to in those videos. They can make their videos however they want to, and they can be open and they can be creative and they can be amazing. However, they're not anywhere similar to me in their stages in life, in their financial situation. Like they are completely different, and therefore I feel like I can't relate to them as much as I can to a smaller influencer. So I know this is very long-winded, but I do hope that I was able to clarify this point in this particular segment. But anyway, I'm just going to go back to the video. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I hope that it was interesting to you, and maybe you guys were able to relate to some of the points that I made. I definitely think that, yeah, there are pros and cons to watching smaller influencers versus larger influencers and vice versa. You guys know my preference, of course. I just like watching smaller influencers more. That's just how I am. But yeah, I hope that this was entertaining for you guys. Thank you so much for watching till the end, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye, guys.